"Ma'am, your hands are shaking, are you all right?" The man's voice was deep, calm, yet curious, the kind of tone that came from someone who was used to having every answer, every number, every solution. But that night, inside the dimly lit diner on a rain-soaked highway, he wasn't expecting her. The waitress froze for a second, her hands trembling as she tried to balance the coffee pot. Her apron was stained, her name tag crooked. "Lena." She forced a tired smile. "Yes, sir, I'm fine," she whispered. But she wasn't fine, not even close. And that single question from a man who didn't even know her name was about to change both their lives forever. Lena had been working double shifts for weeks. The diner stayed open 24 hours and she often worked through the night because it paid an extra $1 an hour. Every cent mattered. Her mother was in a hospital across town, lung disease, and her 8-year-old brother Noah was at home with an old neighbor because their father had walked out a year ago. She didn't tell anyone about that, she just smiled and kept refilling coffee cups. That night it was pouring outside. Thunder cracked, the kind that made the windows rattle. Business was slow. A few truckers, one young couple, and a lone man in a tailored suit sat by the corner booth, handsome, early 40s, the kind of presence that drew eyes without trying. He looked completely out of place in that rundown diner, like a diamond dropped in the mud. He didn't touch his food much, just kept glancing at his phone, his jaw tight. When Lena came to refill his coffee, her hands shook, he noticed. "Bad day?" he asked softly. She tried to laugh it off, but her voice cracked, something like that. He tilted his head, intrigued. "You don't look like someone who gives up easily." That almost broke her. She bit her lip, blinked away tears. No one had said that to her in a long time. He smiled faintly. "I'm Daniel Cross." She didn't know it yet, but Daniel Cross was the Daniel Cross, billionaire CEO of Crosstech Industries, the youngest self-made billionaire in the country. But tonight he wasn't a CEO, he was just a man trying to forget his own failures. Daniel had lost his wife 2 years ago, cancer. He'd thrown himself into work ever since, expanding his company, buying properties, chasing success that no longer felt like success. That night he was driving home from a deal gone wrong, rain blurring the road ahead until something pulled him off the highway, a flicker of neon lights, Maggie's Diner. He didn't know why he stopped, maybe fate did. After serving him, Lena retreated to the counter, quietly wiping tears when no one looked. Her phone buzzed with a hospital text. Her mother's condition was worsening, but she couldn't leave. Her manager had already warned her, one more missed shift and she'd be fired. She whispered under her breath, "Please hang on, Mom, just a little longer." Daniel noticed her wiping her eyes through the reflection of the window. Something in him stirred. He'd seen desperation in business meetings, greed, hunger, but this was different. This was the quiet strength of someone fighting battles nobody saw. He walked up to the counter. "How much is my bill?" She blinked, startled. $12.50, sir." He handed her a $100 bill. "Sir, I don't have change." "Keep it," he said. Her lips parted. I can't, that's too much." He smiled faintly. "Consider it a tip for doing your job even when your hands are shaking." She swallowed hard, then looked down. "They're shaking because I haven't eaten since yesterday morning," she admitted quietly. "Every dollar goes to my mom's medicine, she's in the hospital." Daniel froze, his chest tightened. "You're working all night and you haven't eaten." She shook her head. "Doesn't matter, my mom would do the same for me, I just need her to be okay." That answer, so simple, so pure, hit him like a wave. He'd spent years surrounded by people who only cared about profits, percentages, and power, and here stood a young woman who cared about love more than anything else. He didn't know it yet, but her words would echo in him long after he left that diner. A week passed. Lena didn't think she'd ever see that stranger again, but one morning a black car pulled up outside the diner. Everyone stopped what they were doing when Daniel Cross stepped out, this time with his assistant and 2 men in suits. Her heart raced. Is something wrong?" He smiled. "Actually, something's very right." He walked up to her and placed a business card on the counter. "I couldn't stop thinking about what you said that night," he said, "about doing what it takes for family. I started a new initiative helping families afford hospital care. It starts with you." She blinked, speechless. I don't understand." He nodded to his assistant, who handed her an envelope. Inside was a fully paid hospital bill for her mother. Her knees went weak, tears filled her eyes. You paid for everything. Daniel smiled softly. Let's just say you reminded me of what really matters. You reminded me that humanity still exists. She covered her mouth, sobbing. I don't know how to thank you. He shook his head. Don't, just promise me one thing. When you see someone else struggling, help them the way you wanted to help your mom. Months later, Lena's mom recovered. She got a small apartment near the hospital, started taking online courses, and began volunteering at a local charity Daniel funded. Daniel and Lena stayed in touch. At first, it was simple updates about her mom, about life, but over time, their conversations deepened. He found comfort in her sincerity, her honesty. She reminded him that even in a world full of numbers and power, heart still mattered. And she saw in him something she'd never seen before, not just a man of wealth, but a man of quiet pain trying to make things right again. One evening, months later, Lena stood outside the same diner, now renovated and gleaming, with a small plaque at the door. Cross Foundation Diner, where kindness began. Daniel joined her, smiling softly. Still nervous, he asked. She laughed, maybe a little, but not trembling anymore. He looked at her, eyes warm. Good, because this place started with your courage. She turned to him. No, Daniel, it started with your heart. He smiled. Then let's keep it beating for people like us.